everyone, this is Direwolf20, and welcome to episode 1 of Direwolf20's Dyson Sphere Program Let's Play series. Dyson Sphere Program is a really cool factory building slash space game. And I've played it a little bit. If you guys watch my Twitch streams, you see I played it once there. I played it a little bit off camera. Really a big fan of it. So if you guys like Factorio, or if you like Satisfactory, or basically any factory building game, this one might be up your alley. And also, if you're a fan of space games, like me, like Dyer's a space nerd, I think I've mentioned that once or twice, you might also find this one to be somewhat interesting. So the basic premise is that you are controlling a giant mech robot. You're sent to a planet to start building a factory and mining resources with the overall goal of generating a bunch of resources across multiple solar systems and ultimately building a Dyson Sphere around at least one, but there are multiple suns you can build it around. And Dyson Spheres are basically giant mega structures that go around a star and generate power from it. And you're able to beam that power onto your planets and use it to, further your productions. So that's the basic premise of the game. So this Let's Play series will go through the whole game. There's a lot to see and do. So if you guys are fans of factory builder games, this one might be up your alley. Definitely looking forward to feedback in the comments, what you guys think of this series after the first episode here. So hopefully you'll give it a watch and tell me what you think. Sound cool? Let's get started with Dyson Sphere Program, because it is super cool. So I'm going to start off with just kicking off a new game here. So there are cluster seeds at the top here. This is basically like your world seed. It'll tell you how many different kinds of stars there are. You can set that with a slider here. The resource multiplier, basically how many resources exist in the universe. You can randomize it. You can enter a custom seed. Kind of just like Minecraft, where different seeds determine what the layout of the system is. And you can see there's several types of stars over here on the right. So if we were to, randomize this, we could change the layout of this little piece of the galaxy in front of us. So I've gone ahead and hit the random button a handful of times. I guess this structure looks cool. I don't know. It's not important what your, starting seed looks like. But if you're curious or want to play along with me, this is the seed that I'm using, 46547123. You could go ahead and enter that in, and you'd have a, pretty much the same system that I do. So let's go ahead and hit start game. Here we go. So this is my initial landing pod here. And you can see we're flying into the system.
To the actual universe.
It's a little
you may
tutorial.
Find it's different from our homeland. Should you be able to adapt to the laws of physics in a short time, I am your advisor and will help you through this mission.
I'm going to try not to talk over the narrator a little bit. So this is the star of our solar system that we start in. Pretty cool.
Everything here is yours. As one of Cosmo and the pioneer of the Dyson Sphere Program, you will explore this cluster step by step. By using the resources here to construct the Dyson Sphere to provide energy for the center brain to maintain homeland, starting from scratch. I have chosen a designated planet for you to start the mission, which has necessary resources for initial development. Now please drive the space capsule to the planet.
Here we go. So this will be our starting world. And looks pretty cool. There are many different types of planets that you'll find as you adventure through the game. But we're going to be on this one for, a little bit in the future.
Now you are about to reach the designated planet.
Huzzah! We're here. We have arrived. And this is us. This is the mech.
This is Icarus, a lightweight industrial mecha with powerful functionality. You can use the arrow keys or right-click on the destination to control its movement. In this mission, you will manipulate Icarus to travel beyond the stars and create miracles.
Yeah, we will. Pretty cool. So there's some tutorial information in here.
Space capsule. Right-click on it to recycle.
Hooray! You'll note it gives you an idea of what items you're going to get from this when you right-click it.
You can use the same operation to collect resources, such as trees, gravel, etc. In the meantime, hold down Shift and right-click to give a series of commands. You receive several items after recycling the space capsule. Click the inventory button in the lower right corner of the screen to open the cabin to view them.
So you can see a bunch of information down here that we're going to be getting into. We're going to open up our inventory first by just clicking the icon here or hitting E, which is the shortcut on the keyboard. And you can see all the cool stuff that we've got. So we picked up a few things from breaking down that capsule. Hydrogen fuel rods.
You can hold down mouse middle button drag to rotate the angle of view, or slide the mouse wheel to zoom in and out.
Isn't that cool? Hello, Mecha Robot. So we've got a couple fuel rods, which will fuel our mech, among other things. We also got some iron and some copper. And then while I was chopping down those trees, I got some logs and some fuel. Nice. Now, there's also some tutorial information here that you can check out. So as you're starting out, it's going to give you the details of how to play.
You have not unlocked the construction menu, which will be done automatically when complete any technology research. Click the technology tree button at the bottom right of the screen to open the technology tree.
Yeah,
and
let's do that.
Activate a research.
Hello, technology tree. So there's a ton of technologies that we can unlock as we progress through the game. That gives us access to more and more stuff. We can also, you'll see there's a tab up here for upgrades. This is where we can upgrade our mecha suit to make the suit be able to do multiple things. It'll also allow us to upgrade other technologies. So we can upgrade the mech suit itself and the buildings and stuff that we're able to make. So there's a ton of upgrades to do. So you can see the first thing to research here is electromagnetism, which we'll take a look at in a few minutes. I'm not going to kick that off just yet. I want to go through these tutorial things and just show you guys there's some background information here. I'll let you pause the video and read this. I'm not going to read it to you, but it basically gives you an idea of the story of the game. You'll also note that there's details on what a Dyson Sphere is. We will absolutely be building one of those as time goes by. Information on, let's see, I'm going to clear this guy out. And basic operation guide, looks pretty cool. How to walk around, how to jump, pretty easy. And then the gather resource command, which is just right click on a resource. Now you'll notice that these are spherical planets. You can kind of see that already. And there is a sun up in the air, and the planet is absolutely rotating and going around the sun, revolving around the sun. So as the planet rotates, it will become day or night on the planet. As we start exploring the universe, we might find planets that are, geosynchronously locked with their sun, so there's like an always day and always night side. This one, obviously, that's not the case. We'll get more details on this planet as we progress through the game. So let's go ahead and take a look at researching. So electromagnetism, for example. This is one of the first researches that we're going to want to do. And what you can see is when you bring up your technology tree, you'll see that there's a list of things you can unlock. There's this main center one, which is the main quest. So things going down the center line are absolutely required for the main quest, which is being able to build a Dyson Sphere. But there's tons of other researches that we're going to unlock, and they require prerequisites. So for example, we can't unlock electromagnetic matrix until we unlock electromagnetism. It's your standard tech tree. You'll also note that there's a couple things here. So on the top section, these are the things that are going to be unlocked via activating and completing this research. So we'll get access to a wind turbine, which will generate electricity for us. Tesla tower, which is basically a power pole. It generates or it transfers power from one location to another, and also gives power to machines in an area in a radius. And then finally, the mining machine, which will allow us to automatically mine materials. Now, in order to complete this research, we're going to need to craft 10 magnetic coils. There's a handful of early researches that require materials like this, and then later on, we're going to get access to research cubes, which are specifically dedicated to doing research. Cool. So let's kick off this activation here, and you'll see up in the top left, we'll see that there's a manual research that has occurred, and we need to now generate 10 magnetic coils in order to do this. So we can double-click this guy to open up our replicator, or we can just bring down here and find the replicator key, which is F. And the replicator is your mech's personal crafting system. So the mech itself can craft items for you. We will very, very, very soon be automating the craft of things. This is a factory game after all. So just like Factorio or Satisfactory, you start off having to build things by hand, and then you're going to unlock the ability to craft things automatically. And there's conveyor belts and transport systems and all kinds of other stuff that'll allow you to set up all factories, right? So in order to make stuff, we're going to need 10 electromagnetic coils. And you can kind of see the recipe here when you mouse over it, or here when you mouse over it. So we're going to need 2 of those little circle things and 1 copper bar. And little circle things are magnets, and they're made with just 1 piece of raw iron. And copper bars are smelted versions of copper. So if I were to left click on this, if we have the resources we need, which we do happen to have been given 10 magnets and 10 copper from breaking down that landing thing, if I just left click, we'll see that we can now activate it. So it's telling me that we have the stuff to make 5 of these, right? And you can specify how many to make at a time, up to 10. So I'm going to just, for example, for now, I'm just going to queue 1 of these by just clicking the produce. And you'll see, bada bing, bada boom, it made 2 of them because it's 2 magnets and 1 copper bar equals 2 magnetic coils per craft. So in total, I can make 4 more sets of these, which is, 8. And then it'll add it to the queue here, craft them up, boom. And now my research is occurring over here. So I crafted the items I have in my inventory, and now they've automatically gone into the research queue. They're being analyzed by my mech, and that's going to unlock my ability to craft those new items. Electromagnetism, research complete. Look at that, easy peasy, right? You have unlocked new automatic mining machine, which will automatically collect ores for you. Of course, its capacity is limited. You may wish to transport these minerals to the smelting facility automatically. Okie dokie, Smokey. So there's a whole bunch of details on this.
To achieve ore collecting automation. Pick it up from the inventory, or select it on Gathering of Construction menu to build it.
Cool. So there's details on how mining machines work, but basically you want to overlap some ore veins that you'll find on the planet. There's multiple types, and there's details in here about, how it works. Pretty cool. So let's try it out. So we can either left click it from here to pick it up, and then we can start finding a place to put it.
You can use the R key to rotate the mining machine
by
covering more veins. The more veins covered, the faster the ores will be gathered. If you want to ignore grid snapping, try holding down the shift key.
You got it, Chief. Okay, so in construction mode, you'll also see down here, there's a bunch of different sections that we'll be getting to over the course of the game. There's a power section here, which is where you can choose to place wind turbines or Tesla towers. And these are using the number key, so you can hit 1 to bring this up. And then once you're inside that menu, F1 is the first slot, F4 is the 4th slot, etc. So number 2, and then F1 to place the thing we've got here. So hold R to rotate it, and then you'll see that as you go to place it, you want to try and cover as many veins as you can, because the more veins you cover, the faster it'll mine. And you can place multiple of these around this guy. So I'm just going to pop him down here. And what's neat is the way it works is as you place things...
One of the production facilities is not powered. You need to keep it within the power coverage area and supply it with power facilities in order to maintain its normal works.
You have these little robots inside your mech here, like little bots that fly out and build the thing. So the first thing we have to do is power this guy. So we're going to pop down a wind turbine, which will be this dude. And so the blue circle is the area of effect in which the wind turbine will supply power to machines that need power. So I'm just going to stick a wind turbine here for now. And you'll see my little mech fly over, place it, and we're done.
Wind turbine.
Yay.
You have established your first power grid. Not all power facilities has its power supply area. Use the Tesla Tower to extend the area of the power grid.
Cool. So we can see the Tesla Tower. So the purple line indicates how far that can reach. So if I wanted to reach over here, I would need to build 2 Tesla Towers, one here and then one over here to extend it, right? And then everything inside the purple circle here will receive power. So I'm going to plop down my Tesla Tower. Boom. And now our miners start to work.
Power transmission facility, Tesla Tower.
Sweet.
It can carry out short-distance wireless power transmission and expand the power supply area of the power grid. Click on it to view the current power grid information.
So over here we can see 71.4% satisfaction. So currently we're generating 300 kilowatts because that's how much a wind turbine can generate, 300 kilowatts of energy, given the current wind strength. And we were using 420 because that's what this thing uses. Now, while his inventory is full, which already happened, we already got 50 iron ore from that, which I can shift-click to pull out and put in my inventory, it wound up filling up. Cool, right? So pretty clear information on, how much energy is being produced, how much energy is being used. So currently this guy needs 420. We're only producing 300, so he's only running at 70% efficiency. Also, an important thing to note is machines will use a very small amount of power even when they're not running. So not nearly as much as when they are running, but definitely a small amount. And you can see there's a little tutorial here that tells you about how power grids work and how to establish power. So if I wanted to, I should produce another wind turbine. Boom. Let's craft that. And you'll see it's going to start crafting all the prerequisite components. So it's taking the iron ore that I have. Some of it's being smelted into iron ingots and then turned into gears. Others are being turned into magnets, yada, yada, yada. And then eventually we will get the wind turbine here. Now, the deal with wind turbines is they can't be placed right next to another wind turbine. So you're going to have to find another place. Now, technically, I could place it here, but I personally like kind of aligning to these grid lines that show up on the planet when you're in build mode. These are the latitude and longitude lines of your planet. So if I were to pop this dude right here, boom. We now have 2 wind turbines running, and you can see we're at 600 kilowatts of power generation capable, which is pretty awesome. Nice. Now, I think I'd like a few more Tesla towers and another miner. So I'm going to click to produce a miner here. As you can see, lots of resources going to producing a miner. We need circuit boards, which is a combination of iron and copper, and then a few more of the other components that we need to get. We're going to be automating all of these relatively soon. And then after that miner's done, I want to create a few Tesla towers just to be able to get power over here. So let's go ahead and load up our miner. And I'm going to try and find a nice way. And you can hold shift, by the way, and you can spin this like that, and if you let go of shift, it'll just rotate in a 90-degree angle. You'll also notice it's kind of snapping to these grid lines that I talked about. So see the grid lines, the little green, I'm hoping you can see them on the video, but it snaps to each grid line to place it. But if you hold shift, you can avoid that snapping. Pretty cool, right? So let's pop this dude down here and run some power to him. So we're going to want to make sure... Now, you can actually build from quite a distance away. Boom. And our little robots go out and build for us. And suddenly, we're producing copper. Great, right? Now, before we get into too much trouble, I want to bring your attention down here to the Core Energy tab. This shows us the amount of fuel and energy currently inside our mech, and whether we're producing energy or losing energy. Just by standing still, I'm slowly producing a little bit of energy, but as I walk, I rapidly lose energy inside my mech's batteries. And as I do things like, I think mining will drain energy, building structures will drain energy. Now, luckily, we have a fuel chamber here, and if we open up our mecha panel with C, or click on this icon, we'll see the details of our mecha panel. So we've got 3 construction robots currently. That's something we can upgrade by researching later. We can see our current movement speed that we can reach, so 6 meters per second. Pretty slow. We'll be getting better. Our current health. Trying to remember if there's like anything that can lower your health. I don't think so yet. This game is in early access, but there's a lot to do already. But I think there's more stuff planned. So currently, the mech by itself can produce 80 kilowatts, I guess. And moving around, and has 100 megajoule capacity in our core. So we can throw fuel in there, like leaves, and it'll start burning them up. And you can see now we're producing 560 kilowatts. Or 720 if we're using fuel. So basically each type of fuel, and there's many that we will get access to sooner than later, will give us access to more and more power in our fuel chamber gen. Pretty cool, right? So logs and leaves, these are all things that, they have, you can see the details there. So fuel chamber gen, so it's, there's a little bit of a 30% loss when we burn plant leaves. There's only a 10% loss when we burn logs, and that's why, things were better. So you can see we quickly filled up our internal buffer of power. As you can probably assume, we will unlock things in the future, which costs more energy from our mech. So we're going to want to kind of level up our production of power with our usage of power. Now, if we wanted to get a little bit more details on this planet we're on, we can see the planet thumbnail down here. You can press M to enter global view like this and see what the planet looks like. So this is our planet.
Mode, you can hold down the middle mouse button, drag.
I know, that's what I'm doing.
Rotate the angle of view, and hold down the right mouse button. Drag to roll the angle of view. Press N key to point to the front to the North Pole.
Cool.
In the planet view mode, slide the mouse wheel to enter the star map mode.
I know. I'm trying to tell them that. So this is basically how you can check out your planet that we're currently on. And you can actually zoom in and see a lot of details about the planet. So you can see other resource nodes, you can see where other things are, you can see the dark and the light side of the planet. And if we mouse out even further, we can start to see the solar system view. So this is actually a moon that we're on that's around a ice giant. Look at that. Which we will be able to go and exploit the resources of later on in the game. And if we zoom out even further, we'll find that there's one other planet here, Akrab 2. So this is Akrab 3, this is the ice giant. Akrab 4 is the moon around the ice giant. Akrab 2 is a desert planet over there, arid desert. And Akrab 1 is a lava planet, horizontal rotation, that's pretty cool. This one, and it's a G-type star that we're around. It's about 1 astronomical unit away. Currently we can't reach it, but at some point we will be able to. Pretty cool, right? Akrab 2 has reverse rotation. That's neat. You'll also notice some information about the different types of ores that are available in this system. As we unlock things, we will be able to figure out more details about that stuff, and we'll be learning more about it. Pretty cool. Also, the amount of ore on our current planet, we don't quite know yet, but we will soon. So what I'm going to do is snag this copper and this iron and be ready to probably want to do some more research. Would probably be one of the first things we're going to want to do. Now there's an upgrades tab here that's kind of hinting at me. There's a bunch of things that we can upgrade about our mech. I don't think I want to do that just yet. I really want to focus on being able to unlock things. So there's a basic logistics system. That sounds cool. That'll give us access to conveyor belts, sorters, which we'll talk about, and storage Mark 1. Let's activate this research, right? So in order to make this thing, we're going to need to do 10. So I'm going to queue up 10 gears, boom, and 10 circuit boards. Neat. I like it. And then I'll be back after this crafting is complete, which will be about 10 or 45 seconds. Look at that. The queue, it tells you how long it's going to take to craft everything. Again, we're going to be automating this in minutes. Now, an important thing to note is that as you complete the crafts, it's going to go ahead and, populate some items in your inventory, but it also has to, the research takes some time. So each research step takes a little bit of time. So we've already completed all the crafting. Now we're just waiting for the research to complete. And the same deal, by the way, this assembler recipe makes 2 circuit boards per craft. So since I asked for 10 sets of them, I got 20 in total. We only needed 10, so we have 10 extra remaining here. Hooray! Basic logistics system. Research complete. Look at that.
You have received the sorter and the conveyor belt, which can achieve full automation now. Use the conveyor belt to transport the piled up ores from the mining machine, and the sorter can deliver the ores from the conveyor belt to the smelter for automatic smelting.
Oh yeah. Let's do it. So let's take a look at this. So number 3 here is where we get our stuff for logistics. And slot 4 is where storage is, and there's multiple of each of these, right? So conveyor belts, let's talk about them first. So you choose a starting location.
When putting a conveyor belt,
we'll let this guy tell us.
All you need to do is determine the starting point and the end point of it. In addition, use the up arrow key to lift up 1 level, and use the down arrow key to drop down 1 level after the conveyor belt is lifted. Press keypad 0 to reset the construction height of the conveyor belt to the ground. If you don't want the conveyor belt to be attached to the building, you can try holding down the shift key.
So, what he's telling us is there's actually multiple levels that we can build on. So, this is very much a 3-dimensional game. You can build conveyor belts over other belts, which is neat. So we can, we're out of components for this. I need to craft up more conveyor belts. Get to work, crafters. So as we get our conveyor belts available to us here, I'll go ahead and show you that you can very much run these guys under here. So check that out. Pretty neat, right? You can hit X to bring up dismantle mode, and you can choose individual objects to dismantle, and you'll get the resources back, or you can put it in this mode here, which will just kind of dismantle on a large grid. Pretty cool, right? I like it. So that's Conveyor Belts 101, basically. Let's go ahead and bring some of this ore to like kind of a central location here. So the way this works is some machines will automatically output, others will not. The miner is one of the examples of the machines that will automatically output its resources. So if you build a conveyor belt sticking out the back of the miner, it'll go ahead and start transporting those ores for you. Cool. So there's our iron ore, or copper ore is what we wanted, right? Now, in order to insert into machines, we're probably going to need something to store it in. So let's get ourselves storage. Now, we don't have any stone bricks just yet, so we need to find some stone. I think I saw some... Actually, right up here is a little bit of stone. I think there was some over here as well. So yeah, let's go ahead and craft ourselves a miner, which will only take about 13 seconds. And let's make sure that we also have a Tesla tower here, too, ready to go. I think we should be cool. I'm going to snag some copper and some iron real quick. Now, you might be saying, goodness, Direwolf, your mech moves slow. That's an upgrade. Don't worry about it. We'll be faster in a bit. Now, I could mine this stone by hand, by the way. 100% possible to mine stone by hand. But instead, we obviously want to automate all the things, because that's how Dire likes to play. All video games, especially factory builders, because that's kind of the main point of a factory builder. Cool. And look at that. Now suddenly we've got stone. So now we can craft ourselves a couple of these bad boys. So you get raw stone, you have to smelt it into stone bricks. We'll be getting access to an automated smelter in a moment. Don't worry about that. And here comes our first storage unit. So what I'm going to do is pop down the storage unit here. I think, yeah.
You built a storage, which can be used to store cargo. You can manually store or use the sorter to automatically stock the cargo.
So you'll notice that you can't build directly into with the conveyor belt. So in order to transfer items, you need sorters. So
the
sorters
is a transportation connector of cargoes between facilities. It will automatically transport them as long as the supply facility and the receiving facility are bridged.
Yeah, basically for sorters insert items. So if I were to put a sorter here, it works like that. So sorters, you click on the starting point and then you click on the destination. So if we wanted to transport out of this thing, right, what we would do is we would set up some belts here, and then we would start with the sorter and do from the storage container into this guy. You'll also notice that there's some filters that you can put on it. So if you wanted to have multiple resources inside the same storage facility, and that will absolutely be happening at some point, you're gonna have access to filter it. Pretty cool. Now, sorters themselves are a little bit slow initially. There's upgrades. There's always upgrades. But you can also put multiple sorters on. So by doing that, we speed things up a little bit. Pretty cool. Belts themselves also have a transfer speed, which, again, there's upgraded versions of belts. All right, so we're rapidly filling up our storage. By the way, you can limit the capacity for automation with this slider. So if you don't want to collect any more than 4 stacks of resources, you can set that with this slider thing right here. Beautiful, by the way. Absolutely love that. And there's multiple changes and things we can do with storage that we'll be talking about as we progress through the game. Cool. So once we hit the 100 capacity here, you'll notice that it stops transferring. And then this guy will back stuff, and then he's done. End of story, right? So let's see what our next research might be. So there's an improved logistics system that's going to need electromagnetic matrices, which we don't have access to. Metallurgy sounds like a good time. So we're going to need a smelter, and glass is what we get out of the automatic metallurgy. Let's absolutely get that going. So we're going to need a handful more of these. I'm just going to tell you to make 10 at a time, because whatever. And same for circuit boards. And we'll be back in 90 seconds when this is done crafting. You can see very soon you're just going to want to absolutely be done with the whole manual crafting thing. All right, so we should be finishing right now our research. Automatic metallurgy. Nice. So now we have access to the smelter. It gives us 3, which is very kind of it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually delete this guy. So I think if I hit X, I can clear him out. You'll notice that it picked up the sorters, the copper ore, and the storage Mark 1s for me automatically, which is very handy. What I want to do now is go ahead and start building the smelters. And I'm going to click and drag, and you'll notice it builds out some ghost structures for me. So I can build all 3 of those nice and easily.
You built a smelter, which can smelt basic materials, such as iron ingots and copper ingots automatically. While you want to make the raw materials and products get in and out of it autonomously, you need to use sorters and conveyor belts.
So see the deal? So 2 things. One,
after selecting the recipe, you can use the less than key to copy the recipe, and the greater than key to paste the next building that needs to set the same recipe.
This is true. So you see the deal there, right? You have to, kind of like Satisfactory or Factorio, you say these are the materials that I would like. Let's get myself like a good handful of these. Just want to make sure the power grid is covering all my machines. Yeah, they can all run now. So now I can manually insert the 100 copper. You'll notice it can really only hold about 20 at a time. Okay. So we're going to want to, clear all this copper that we've got in our inventory from doing the demonstration of how to store items. Generally, you don't want to store raw materials like that. Let them back stuff. But what we are going to do, real quick, before we get to the end of this episode, is fully automate copper production, right? So what I want to have here is a real quick and basic copper line that's going to look like this. Pretty cool? Look at that. Look at it go. So now it's emptying all the smelted copper out of these things. Now this belt isn't necessarily needed, so we can get rid of that. This belt technically isn't needed, so we can get rid of that. Now if it looks like we're smelting too quickly, which might absolutely be the case, then we can go ahead and just stick a belt here. What you want to do is click on this part of the belt and then extend it like that. And that looks good. Are we out of those dudes? We might be. Let me get 10 sets of those real quick. Real quick. So yeah, look, we're not transferring fast enough with our low-level sorters, which is a bummer. Cool. And what I'm going to do is just empty my inventory of all this copper ore. Now, I'm pretty sure there was a sort button for my inventory. Where was that? Ah, there it is. It's only when you have your inventory open, not when you have this guy open. So, boop, and that's a nice little sort feature for you. Now, you'll note that we are absolutely not producing enough power here. Our generation capacity is 600, so when these guys are running, we're not producing enough power, because each one of them uses a healthy amount of power. So you can see right now, we're only about 50% satisfaction. We really want 1.2 megawatts, we're only producing 600 kilowatts, so we're literally halfway there, and that's why we're getting the blinking yellow icon. It's telling us we really don't have anywhere near enough power. Sorters themselves, by the way, use power to transfer items from one location to another, so you're going to want to keep in mind your power needs and generation. So frankly, we need to create a handful more windmills in order to power this little bad boy, which we'll absolutely be setting up in the next coming episodes. So this is the basics of Dyson Sphere Factory, or Dyson Sphere Program. There is a lot. Like, look, we can see the gas giant kind of in the sky above us here. Obviously, if we were to look at the planet view, we would see that the sun, the planet is facing the sun on the other side of the planet. So if we can literally walk around this planet and be in sunlight right now. I'm not going to do it because my mech's still a little bit slow, but you can walk around this entire planet, you can build all over it. There's going to be a lot to check out. So let me know in the comments what you guys thought of this game and the series so far. I hope you guys are excited because there's a lot of really cool stuff. I am very much a fan of this game. I've played it, like I said, once or twice. It's been a few months since I've played it, and there's a lot that's been added. So I'm really excited both to check out what's new to me and also share it with you guys. All right, for now, Devil20 signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We'll come back next episode and check out more of this awesome game. For now, take it easy.